all my real sharks, welcome to the show. Today's episode we're going to be discussing a movie, Lost in Time. We're going to be discussing Land of the Lost. We're going to go from the 1974 TV series and the transition into the 2009 Land of the Lost movie. Why was it bad? Why did people hate it? We're going to discuss that on today's show. Today it's Land of the Lost.
A 5, 6, 7, 8. Marshall, Will, and Holly in a routine expedition met the greatest earthquake ever known. High on the rapids, it struck their tiny raft, and plunged them down 1,000 feet below to the land of the lost. Rawr!
What's going on, everybody? So just so everyone knows, if you're not gonna, just to turn it off now, we're not going to be discussing the Nickelodeon 1990 version. We're going to strictly be discussing the 1974 TV show and the 2009 Will Ferrell Land of the Lost movie. So all of those Nickelodeon fans who enjoy that as well, turn off now because we're not even counting that one. Land of the Lost was a kids' television series that premiered on NBC. It ran from 1974 to 1977. It starred Rick Marshall, Spencer Mulligan, Will Marshall, Wesley Ear, Holly Marshall, Kathy Coleman, and later in Season 3, Uncle Jack Marshall, who was actually Ron Harper, and their animal companion, or monkey companion, whoever, ape companion, whoever you want to call him. Shaka! Shaka was played by Philip Paley. It tells the story of Rick Marshall, his daughter Holly, and son Will, lost in a land of time where time is mashed together in different periods, known as the Land of the Lost. And through this whole series, they're basically trying to survive, trying to get home. The show did very well for how low budget it was. At first, the show only had 3 Sleestack suits to begin with. Including Enix, the Golden Altrusion, which was the race that was introduced into the Land of the Lost.
You have a fine grasp of the obvious.
The problem with the show is, in Season 3, Spencer Mulligan left due to money issues, leaving room for Ron Harper, who played Uncle Jack, to fill his shoes and try to move the show forward. The problem with it was, though, various viewers lost interest in the show, and it just kind of faded out with the ending episode, and there's really no conclusion to it, so the show just kind of fizzled out after that.
In a memory of me, as every day I'm drifting away to where life is free and is calling to me.
Marshall, Will, and Holly on a routine expedition met the greatest earthquake never known.
So in 2009, they actually made a recreation of Land of the Lost with, hit comedic star Will Ferrell, and Danny McBride, Anna Farrell, and Jerome Tacone as Chaka.
Go Beans.
In the movie, which, when it came out in 3D, when it first came out, and when it first came out, it was bashed by critics very hard. I mean, this movie takes it's a 28% on Rotten Tomatoes. That's a pretty horrible rating. It gets a 28% on Rotten Tomatoes everywhere. It gets a 5.8, I believe, on IMDb. So it's rated a pretty bad film. A film that is so bad the directors actually apologized for it at Comic-Con when it came out. And this is kind of the essence of what this episode is. Is it really that bad? I didn't think it was so bad. We're gonna have to kick it off on the panel here. I will go ahead and be the first to defend this movie and say I do not think Land of the Lost, the 2009 movie, deserves all the hate it gets because it was actually a good transition from TV show to movie. And the reason I say that is it gives good touchbacks to the movie. To the show. Sorry, it gives good touchbacks to the show. They have the theme song in it. They use the Slee Stack audio for little bits, like when Danny McBride showing him the cave and he goes to Lizard Man.
Oh, God! Woo! Oh, the lizard man!
They have the Three Moons in the Land of the Lost, which was also a touchback to the show, which was actually a key point in the 1974 show because the Dr. Rick Marshall in the show actually pointed that out because he said that Land of the Lost isn't in the past or present. It's actually kind of a mashup of time. So that was actually a key point they added. The waterfall, when the waterfall cracked open in the 2009 movie, Will Ferrell says it's the greatest earthquake ever known. And the waterfall. There was so much touchbacks. The Slee Stacks. They had more than one Slee Stack. They could afford to have more than one. And the comedy. I thought the comedy was brilliant of the movie. I did not see anything really necessarily wrong with the 2009 version. They even named the dinosaur Grumpy, which I thought was was pretty funny. And this is because I never caught the show when I was young. Of course I wasn't alive in 1974 to enjoy the show like that, but I did catch the reruns, and I thought it was a good transition from TV show to movie. The only thing I can see why people didn't like it was because the ending of the movie, they make Enoch, who was originally the ally in the show, a bad guy. And they make it seem like he was trying to bring about the destruction of everything. Now, if you're going to go that detailed into it, I guess you can say you can be upset about it, but the whole point of the matter is the show never even finished.
That is true.
So how can you be angry necessarily at the resolution of a movie, if that is what it was that mainly the fans were upset about? But I don't know. I want to go around the table here and see what you guys think about this, because like I said, I don't think it's a bad movie. I would actually say it's a good movie. It's a good recreation of Land Lost. So let's go ahead and start with Luke. You want to go ahead and kick it off, man?
Sure, I'll kick it off. I actually think I would say it is a very mixed movie overall. The sci-fi stuff, the fantasy stuff was not necessarily all that great, but on its own, it was funny. I actually thought there were some great jokes, like with the T-Rex, the pterodactyl piss. That was good.
Oh yeah.
Like when he pours it on his head, he's like, "Okay, it's a lot of stinging. Maybe a second coat will make it feel better." Oh, instantly made it worse. Yeah, it was good. I like Danny McBride. He was Danny McBride. Funny as all hell. I would say the thing that really gets me is that the plot's just kind of like there. It's not all that interesting. Some of the jokes feel real forced, like the whole thing about like don't trust a guy with a vest.
Oh, the tunic. Don't trust the guy with the tunic. Yeah, it was a tunic.
It just get kind of like on the nose because the whole thing is like I don't trust anybody with a tunic, and it only really came in at the end. It was like, he's a traitor. That's why we gave him that tunic.
I love that part.
It was like really like they really tried hard to make. I guess the phrase is sweaty, as in they just worked really hard to make it that reference and a comeback. It is funny now in retrospect because the first half was, one of the subplots was how much Will Ferrell hates Matt Lauer as a person, and now it's funny now that he's like Matt Lauer can suck it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I liked a lot of I do wish we'd get more what's the phrase, like fantasy or sci-fi comedy. Not as in comedy, not as in stuff that's like parody, but like stuff that like uses sci-fi to tell jokes. Like obviously Rick and Morty is the most obvious example. Red Dwarf, sci-fi stuff where the joke is not let's make fun of sci-fi tropes. It's we'll use the sci-fi tropes to get humor to
son